Hi everyone, welcome back. I have an exciting video for you all today, or at least what I think is an exciting video. I went to a new used bookstore this past weekend, new to me, I'd never been there before. They also sell new books, but I was specifically looking for used books, which is exciting because I live in Vermont and there's not a lot of used bookstores nearby. So the store that I went to is called the Eloquent page, and it's in St. Albans, Vermont. It was a really cute bookstore. It's pretty small, but we probably spent like an hour in there browsing, looking at everything. So it was really fun, and I came home with 12 books. So it was definitely a successful shopping day. But yeah, it was a great store. I highly recommend it for anybody who lives in the area or is, just passing through. It's a great spot. They had lots of history books and fiction books, and they had a lot of like young adult and kids books as well. So they had a little bit of everything, which was awesome. So I will get into the books that I got. I kind of tried to sort them by kind of categories, but it's definitely a random mix of all sorts of different things. So I will get into it. I'll start with I bought two Japanese translated books at the bookstore. He seemed to be the owner of the bookstore, I'm not quite sure, but he was really into Japanese translated fiction, so I noticed a lot of books on the shelves, and I think he said that some of them were his actually that he brought to the store. So I thought that was really fun because I don't always find a lot of them at used bookstores. And it was fun to talk to because he gave me a lot of recommendations, which was awesome. So the first book that I got was Sweet Bean Paste by Durian Sukugawa. My friend's mom actually recommended this book to me. We both like books like this that are just like, sweet stories, nothing too crazy or devastating going on in this book, but it sounds really, really like wholesome and just a nice read. It's about a man who works at a confectionery shop. He wants to become a writer, but he's made a lot of mistakes in his past, and an older woman, like an elderly woman, starts coming into the shop and working there. So it's just a story about their friendship, and it sounds like a really nice read, and I'm looking forward to it. Another book that I got, another Japanese translated fiction, is Strange Weather in Tokyo by Hiromi Kawakami. I'm not sure if I've read any of her books before, but she's a pretty popular author. And it sounds like a bit of a romance story about another, lonely person who is looking to, find some more meaning in their life. So it sounds interesting, and I don't know much about it, but it's been on my list, so I was excited to find it in the store. The next books that I got are all will qualify for my trying to read a book from every country journey. So I found 4 books, which was very exciting. The first is called The Mistress of Spices. I had not heard of this book before. It's by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, and she is an Indian American author. She's born in India. And this book is about a young woman who is trained in the ancient art of spices. That's what the synopsis says. And it sounds like she's transported from a historical time to present day Oakland, California. And it's just a story of what happens there. So it's some magical realism, which I always enjoy, and it sounded really intriguing. So I picked this one up. The next one was one that I had on my list, Breath, Eyes, and Memory by Edwidge Danticat. And this is a Haitian author, and it's about a young girl who is sent from a village in Haiti to New York to live with her mother, who had immigrated, it sounds like a few years ago, and just about her upbringing there and how things change for her. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've heard great things about it. It's an Oprah book, and she usually does a good job picking, so I'm looking forward to it. The next book I got is another that was on my list for my Read Around the World challenge, and this is My Name is Red by Orhan Pamuk, and this is a Turkish author, and this book is a little bit intimidating to me because I saw it in a different used bookstore a while ago and I almost picked it up, but then I saw the size of the font is so tiny. I don't know if you can see that, and I was like, oh, this is gonna take me a long time to read. But it seems like one of the most popular, or this author seems like one of the most popular like Turkish authors that's been translated into English. I think he might be a Nobel Prize winner as well. Don't quote me on that, but and this is his most popular book, so I was like, I should just read it. It's about artists in a historical era in Turkey, and they are kind of clandestine artists because the art that they're making can be seen as sacrilegious in Islam. So one of the artists disappears, and then it's kind of a mystery to figure out what happened to this person, and it seems like it might have some magical realism in it as well. So I am looking forward to it, but definitely a little bit intimidated by this book. The next book I have is the final one in my Reading Around the World kind of collection that I got. This is The Wine of Solitude by Irene Nemirovsky, and she's from Ukraine. And this is a fictional account of a young woman who is living through World War I and the Russian Revolution, and she moves from Kiev to St. Petersburg and then to Paris. And I'm guessing that this is a sort of an autobiographical novel because I was researching this author just a little bit, and she moved to France. I think this book was originally written in French actually, and she actually died in Auschwitz during World War II, which is obviously very sad. But yeah, she seems like a very prolific author who died pretty young. And so I've never heard of her before, but this book just caught my eye, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. And yeah, it seems like a perfect fit for what I'm looking for my challenge. So yeah. And then the next book that I got is a very popular book right now. It's All Fours by Miranda July, and I was very surprised to find a used copy of this book. It's won a lot of awards, and just seems like a fun summer read. Although we're approaching the end of summer, I think I might try to squeeze this one in. This is about an artist, and she wants to drive across the country from LA to New York City to kind of go on a little trip and get away from her family and her problems and all that. But she ends up just checking into a motel 30 minutes from her house, and it's just about what happens there. It sounds very intriguing. I've heard great things about this book, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. The next book that I picked up is a essay collection, and this is Black is the Body, Stories from My Grandmother's Time, My Mother's Time, and Mine by Emily Bernard. And she's actually a English professor at UVM. So I think that's really cool. I've heard some great things about this book as well. It was on my list. I didn't know that she was a Vermont author, so that was pretty exciting when I found that out, when I found this copy. And I see on the back, I just noticed that this is blurbed by Ann Patchett, who is one of my favorite authors. So I'm really excited about this. It's just an essay collection about her experience growing up Black in the South, and she moves to New England, obviously where she lives now, and just about her experience being a Black woman in America, which is obviously oftentimes a difficult experience to have. But yeah, I'm really excited about this book, and I was excited to see it in a Vermont bookstore, a Vermont author. I thought that was really cool. So the next two books are just kind of some more, I guess, random novels that I picked up. One is Ordinary People by Judith Guest, and this was made into a movie. I haven't heard of it before, but it seems like it was a very popular novel and movie when it came out. The movie came out in 1980. It won an Oscar for Best Picture. And I think this book came out in the 70s. But it's just about a family, husband, wife, in the 50s, I think. And then there are 2 sons, but it seems like one of them has passed away, and it's just about their family. Sorry about that trash truck, you can probably hear in the background. But yeah, it sounds really interesting, and I like family dramas, so I think this will be a good read. The next book I got is The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. I've read one of her short story collections and I loved it, Roman Stories. I have another collection, Interpreter of Maladies, on my shelf that I've been wanting to pick up. I hopefully will read that soon. But this is a novel by her about a family from Calcutta moving to the US, and just about their experience as immigrants, and I think it will be great. I loved her short stories. I love her writing, so I know I will enjoy this when I eventually get to it. I have 2 final books here, and these are both nonfiction books. So the first one that I got is Dead Wake, The Last Crossing of the Lusitania by Erik Larson. I don't think I've read any of Erik Larson's books before, but I have heard of him, and he's a pretty popular nonfiction author. So this is just about the famous ship, the Lusitania, that sunk, and about that whole story of the disaster. So this sounds really good, and I haven't been reading a lot of nonfiction lately, but I kind of want to read this soon, so I might do that. And then the next book I got is called Icebound, A Doctor's Incredible Battle for Survival at the South Pole by Dr. Jerry Nielsen with Marianne Ballers. I've never heard of this book, and it's like a heavy hardcover, but it was $6, so I picked it up. It's about a woman who is a doctor, and she was stranded at the South Pole Research Station, and she was rescued. And this is her story, and that sounds super interesting to me. I love, as I've mentioned many times, I love polar stories and winter and outdoor adventures, so this sounds great. I've never heard of it before. I don't know how well written it's going to be, considering she's not a writer, but it seems like she has like a co-writer with her, but it sounds like a super intriguing story, so I was excited to find this. That's what I love about used bookstores, is I can take a risk on books I've never heard of or things I'm not sure about, because they're much more inexpensive than buying new books. So I can try out new things, which is always fun. And a lot of times, like, I don't think I could ever get this from the library. There probably aren't a ton of copies of this book, so it's cool to find things like that at used bookstores. So that is my haul. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if any of them sound interesting to you. Is there one that you think I should read, like, right away? I would love to hear from you. And yeah, the bookstore was the Eloquent page in St. Albans, so highly recommend it. And yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you in my next video.